Hey guys, time for another video, me walking through the woods. I used to do these a lot. So yeah, some interesting things happening. I really didn't expect to wake up and see headlines saying that COVID passports are going to be dropped. I mean, that's what the headlines are saying. Doesn't mean it's going to happen, but it's very, very curious that it's even being put out there. Maybe on the 26th of January in England, we'll see COVID passports dropped. Who knows? This reality really can surprise you, and that would be really quite amazing if it did. If England can get through this winter with no lockdowns and the end of COVID passports, well, that would really flip a lot of things on its head, right? That would be quite mysterious as to how that's actually happened. When we think we know the plan, the agenda, do we really know everything that's going on? Are the bad guys really in complete control? I'd invite you all to deeply ask yourself those questions and think about it, because personally I believe that the divine is ultimately always in control in this place. Maybe it's just this whole fucking thing's just to wake people up, right? But I've got a poll on my Instagram, so if you want to check that out, you can have a vote. You can vote on there and have your say of, do you think COVID passports are going to be dropped at the end of the month? It's also on Telegram as well, on the Open1 information channel, if you use that platform. So yeah, we'll see how it goes. I'm quite optimistic, but of course you don't want to let your guard down and just sort of chill out just yet. You've got to see it actually happen before it happens. We all know that. But no, I'm quite optimistic in many ways. Like, this year has sort of been a good start for a lot of things. So obviously as well, you've got that doctor who was challenging Javid on the vaccines live on Sky News. That's really incredible. And then you see what's happened to his Instagram account. Last time I checked, it was like 40,000 followers. It's just exploded, and it shows you how quickly things can happen in this day and age. Like, that guy, he was on a few thousand at most, and boom, it just exploded. Now he's got heaps of influence, and he seems to be using it in a really positive way. He's posting great things on his Instagram, so if you haven't checked it out yet, go check it out. And yeah, Dr. Steve James, amazing what he's been doing. So a good few things have happened so far this year. So we'll see, right? And I would be so amazed if they are dropped, but we'll see. But yeah, so keep up the good work, everybody. I mean, there was a great comment on the post that I made saying that, oh, maybe the government can tell how compliant the population is or would be with a certain measure, you know, maybe data harvesting, all that shit, and that they have to sort of backtrack when they see that any people aren't going to comply. Who knows? It's quite an interesting perspective. That was a very interesting comment, but it made me obviously realise that we have the power. The people always have the power. We have the say of what goes here, even if it doesn't look like it. And they're never going to put the headline out there, are they? Oh, so we did the data analysis and it seemed like most of the UK wouldn't actually comply, or sorry, England wouldn't comply with these measures, so we had to backtrack it. They're never going to say that, but maybe that's why, because there is such a strong, passionate activist movement here, and it's such an honour to be a part of it. You people are amazing, and we often don't give ourselves credit for all the hard work we do. And I've got to admit, we can be quite cynical, and that is partly one of our greatest strengths, but also one of our greatest weaknesses. When something really good does happen, it can be hard to believe it. So we'll see in a couple of weeks to have your say in the poll, and we'll see what manifests through all of this. I'm quite excited for what the rest of this year is going to bring. If you didn't see my last video, I've got a few different things I'm going to try out this year. I love being of service to people, and I like to experiment with different ways of doing that, and I've got a really cool way of doing that, and it's tied into personal development, which I'm sure loads of you are interested in. I personally love personal development. I discovered it like a decade ago. It went hand in hand with my awakening journey. I woke up, and it wasn't too long before I started discovering things like meditation and getting into like body work and all that kind of stuff. And then you get into like limiting beliefs, removing limiting beliefs, and figuring out all the better ways you can look after your body. Then it starts getting into diet and nutrition, and I could talk at length, and maybe I will in a separate video, about my personal journey of how I've gone through personal development and how it's tied in with spirituality and all these amazing things of life. Because it's like, once you wake up, then you have to evolve. It's not like it's over once you've realised that the government might not be able to be trusted. But then it can come full circle again, right? Because it's like, well, maybe not all of the government are bad. Maybe it's just parts that are corrupted, and maybe there are some good guys still in there. We'll see. And it's been interesting, like the massive media campaign against Boris recently. Anyone questioning that seems a little bit dodgy, right? Why is the media gunning for Boris? Who really gives a fuck if he had a party? I mean, like, they just get their orders from on high anyway. If there is this the evil guys making these moves, the government just has to bow down in many ways. But then maybe they can here and there, maybe good guys also can put in some influence there as well. Maybe there's some really powerful good guys, but it shows you if they were having a party in May, they knew this virus was nothing to be worried about. They knew it, they absolutely knew it, and it was only because the population complied with all of these ridiculous measures that there was any restrictions happening anywhere in any place at any time anyway. So ultimately the people in a way were doing it to themselves, so who do they really have to be upset with? And I know it's hard when you are awake, and maybe there were people that, you know, like funerals and stuff like that was restricted, but if we had a more of a awake population that didn't comply, then none of these measures would have had any power anyway. So we've got to sort of take responsibility as a collective. And thankfully, the silver lining, so many people have woken up through all of this COVID bullshit. I did a poll like a couple months ago, and it showed that maybe nearly 40% of you guys woke up in the past couple of years. So that says something, huh? Maybe this whole thing is just to wake us up and train us as we evolve spiritually. But yeah, so big ups to everybody who's putting in the hard work and the graft in the activist movement. We do make an impact, and anyone who's looking after themselves, working on yourselves, looking after yourself, self-care is actually quite a powerful way of fighting back, and it's an interesting perspective, and I cover that more in the upcoming ebooks. So stay tuned for those, and yeah, let's keep up the good work, guys.